Hello everybody and welcome back to Dollar Tree Dinners. My name is Rebecca and today we're going to be testing out some banana recipes. We've all done it, right? You go out and you buy a bundle of bananas and then they just sit on your counter and turn brown. But what do you do with these when you don't want to make banana bread? You can just stick these in your freezer and freeze them for making smoothies and oatmeal. I want to test out two unique recipes that I found online. The first requires 3 bananas and it is a 3-ingredient brownie. How could you make brownies with 3 ingredients? Well, the recipe calls for bananas, peanut butter, and cocoa powder. So I think that one's gonna be a really fun one. We're gonna try that out today. The second is a recipe that was trending a little while back, and it is a banana Snickers bar. Personally, I love Snickers bars. They are one of my favorite candy bars. So I'm curious to see how this banana version of it is going to compare to the real thing. So we've got some bananas that are about to go bad. Let's try some new recipes. So we're gonna start with the brownies, which as I mentioned, all you need to make those are bananas, cocoa powder, and some kind of a nut butter. I'm gonna use peanut butter because it is what I have. You can also buy all of these ingredients except for the bananas at Dollar Tree. The recipe I'm gonna be trying is from the Big Man's World. So it says, first step, preheat the oven to 350. Now we're gonna start with our bananas. I have 3 ultra ripe, probably maybe too ripe bananas. I mean, they're not quite to the point of being bad, but they're getting there. All right, let's go ahead and toss those into a bowl. I love this as an alternative to banana bread because this recipe is, I would assume, gluten-free because I don't think there's any gluten in peanut butter or cocoa powder. I mean, there could be some cross-contamination depending. It's also vegan. It kind of checks a lot of boxes if it works out. So the first thing we're supposed to do is mash the bananas, which I'm just gonna do with a fork. And bananas are also a fabulous egg substitute because they kind of work in the same manner that eggs do as like a binder. So you don't necessarily need a recipe to make something with bananas. You could just substitute an egg. Half a banana would probably equate to 1 egg. I think some recipes say 1 whole banana per egg. I feel like that's gonna give it a bit of a banana flavor. I would say that this applies to the majority of baked goods, but probably not in things like cheesecakes where you really do need that egg for a binder. Now we're supposed to add a 1/2 cup of peanut butter, almond butter, or any nut butter. I'm gonna stir mine because some of the oil floated up to the top a bit. This is a, as you can see, a large jar of peanut butter. 1/2 cup of creamy peanut butter. And the final ingredient is a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. This is unsweetened, just your standard baking cocoa. But that is it. Let's mix that all together. A spoon is a better utensil than a fork. I just used the fork so I could mash it. I'm gonna try to get this all incorporated. I'm still seeing some chunks of banana, and there's no worry about over mixing this either because there's no flour. So just kind of work it until you get the consistency that you're looking for. Let's grab ourselves a baking dish and line it with a sheet of parchment paper. One interesting way I've seen people get their parchment paper is to crinkle it so that they can then fit it into any shape with a lot less trouble. Now let's pour our 3-ingredient brownie mixture into our baking dish. I feel like this is one of those recipes where you should have some degree of realistic expectations. I don't expect it to taste like a Duncan Hines boxed brownie mix. I expect it to taste like banana, peanut butter, and chocolate. So I'm curious mostly to know what the texture of this is going to be because again, we don't have any leaveners in this. There's no flour, just banana, peanut butter, and cocoa powder. So I think that these are gonna be fairly wet. These are gonna get baked at 350. It says for 17 to 20 minutes. Once those finish baking, they're gonna have to cool completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the Snickers bar banana as well. So that is going to be my use for my 4th little banana here. This one also calls for peanut butter, but there's not really peanut butter in a Snickers bar beyond the peanut butter Snickers bar. I'll go ahead and put it on there, but I think you can leave it out if you prefer. Also need some peanuts. I'm using just dry roasted salted peanuts. I'm gonna be making my caramel sauce with the Werther's Chewy Caramels. This is the same caramel sauce that I made in my Snickerdoodle cookie video. And then some chocolate for melting and drizzling on top. I did get all 3 of these ingredients at Dollar Tree, and I already had the peanut butter in my pantry. I am gonna make my caramel sauce first. So for this, I'm gonna unwrap these Werther's candies. These come with 10 per package. So both of these recipes I'm sharing today can be made entirely from the Dollar Tree with the exception of the bananas. So into our little Werther's here, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of water. And I'm gonna microwave this. I might need to add more water, but we're gonna start with 1 tablespoon. I'm gonna microwave it for 1 minute. This is very hot coming out of the microwave. I'm not gonna touch the bottom, but we're just gonna stir until that's all melted and incorporated. Okay, so there is our caramel sauce. And I'm also going to melt these chocolates. This was all I could get at Dollar Tree today as far as chocolate goes. They didn't have any chocolate chips. They didn't have any of their brand of chocolate bars. This is only 5 bars that are about ½ ounce. So it's about 2½ ounces of chocolate. It's probably more than I need for a single banana, but when it comes to Dollar Tree, you work with what you can get at any given day. I think this is fun because at least at my local gas stations, you can buy bananas. They're 3 for $1. For those of you who shop at Dollar Tree and have access to a gas station, you probably do have access to bananas, apples, and oranges because at least I can get those at my gas station. So I'm just gonna microwave the chocolate on 10 to 15 second bursts and let it just melt. I'll lay down some parchment paper so nothing sticks to my sheet pan. You're gonna get 4 of these out of a single banana. So you cut the banana in half lengthwise, and then you cut those halves in half so that you have these 2 kinds of strips of banana. Now let's start with a smear of peanut butter on each of the halves. I think I'm only going to do peanuts on 2 of them because I think, personally speaking, and I'm talking from my own Snickers bar experience, peanuts are actually my least favorite part of a Snickers bar because they always get kind of stuck in my throat. Put a few peanuts on each banana. It's a bit of an experiment though, so I feel like I should do a couple with peanuts and a couple without. Got those kind of nicely covered in peanuts. Next we're going to go on with some of our caramel. You could probably make with this single bag of caramel, I'd say you could probably make about 2 whole bananas, so about 8 of these little halves. Because that is actually quite a lot of caramel in each one, and I've barely put a dent in what I've got. I do think I went a little overboard on that first one. And then we're gonna finish them off with some chocolate, which I'm gonna drizzle the chocolate just because I'm extra and I want these to look nice. Looks like I'm gonna have just enough for all 4 of these. And now those are gonna get stuck in the freezer until everything is solidified and hardened. I think you're gonna wanna kind of freeze them solid, so it's probably gonna be close to 30 to 45 minutes before these are ready to eat. So this is what our brownie looks like out of the oven. I can't tell if it's baked all the way through. It definitely looks like it's a different kind of density or darkness here in the center. Like on the outside, it looks more cooked. I feel like there's nothing wrong with giving this a little bit of extra time, so I'm gonna put it back in the oven for another 5 minutes or so, just to be on the safe side. That looks a little better, at least now it all looks uniform in color. I don't know if you could really tell on video how much darker it looked in the center when I first pulled it out, but now it looks like it's pretty much all the same color. So I did 25 minutes total, and now we need to let this cool completely, and then we can try our banana brownies. By that point, the frozen ones should also be ready. So I'm gonna have Michael try them with me as well. I think I am mostly curious about the texture of these brownies. They did seem to set up. I was concerned whenever I went to go take the parchment paper out of the baking sheet because they felt quite floppy. But now that they have sat and cooled, they do seem like they have firmed up nicely. Moment of truth. Let's see what the inside of this looks like. Well, that is unique. You can still see some little chunks of banana in there, but that is the texture of our banana peanut butter cocoa powder brownies. I think brownie is a stretch. They don't have that crackly top that a traditional brownie would have. I think that they're their own dessert, but they are most certainly not a brownie. These banana Snickers bar things, on the other hand, I have very, very high hopes for. Let's show you one of those up close. What a fun way to use bananas that is not banana bread. Either way works. Okay, so these are the brownies. They're banana peanut butter. They're just banana peanut butter and cocoa powder, so they're definitely not like a brownie like you would imagine it.
Very soft, very moist.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not sweet.
No, it's very bitter.
It's very bitter. I feel like it could kind of grow on you though a little bit.
Not me. No.
No, not you. Oh, so no to the brownies, but these are the banana Snicker bar things.
Oh, cold. Oh, wow.
Yeah, frozen. Too cold?
Once you get past the brain freeze, it's really good. Hurts my teeth.
It needs to be on a stick. Mm-hmm. It does kind of taste like those ice cream Snicker bars.
A little bit.
Like, I think if it had more chocolate, it would be close to those ice cream Snickers. It might be easier to stab them. I was gonna say it might be easier to skewer the banana side of it than the caramel side. So these are good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a semi-successful taste test. The brownies, as you heard, were not our thing. Texturally, they're fine. They're not a brownie, but texturally they're fine. The overwhelming flavor is that unsweetened cocoa powder. Even though we only used a 1/4 cup of that in the whole batch, that is all you can taste, and it is quite bitter, and it completely outshines the banana and the peanut butter, so it has almost no natural sweetness to it. So those were generally not good, and I probably would not make those again. I might try some other variations of them, because I have seen other recipes that aren't like the 3-ingredient recipes that seem like they might be a little bit better and not quite as, I feel sometimes 3-ingredients recipes can be a little gimmicky, and this feels a little gimmicky. But these are probably like a 4 out of 10 for me. They are edible, but they are generally not good. The banana Snickers bar though was actually pretty on point. I do think it kind of tastes reminiscent of a Snickers bar. As far as the taste goes, these did taste like banana with Snickers kind of elements intertwined into them, but they reminded me very heavily of the Snickers ice cream bars. Because the caramel and the peanuts and the chocolate are all cold, it kind of gives you that same vibe. I do wish it had more chocolate. Like, I almost wish it was fully coated in chocolate on the back. I think that would be a little bit more reminiscent of that Snickers ice cream bar. And the other thing is that I wish there was a less messy way to eat these. Maybe putting them on a stick or something beforehand, making them into basically popsicles might be a little bit better, so that you're not having to hold it and get like melted chocolate on your hands. But the flavor is fantastic on those. I would definitely make these again. I think this is a really great like sweet treat. I would, hands down, if I had some extra bananas, I think that this would be a fun way to use them and have just a little snack in my fridge that I can grab, especially on like a hot summer day. But overall, I am really happy that I did this test. At least if one of the 2 recipes is a success, then I feel like this was a successful test. Which brings me to the question of the day. What is your favorite way to use bananas that is not banana bread? Maybe you guys have an idea that I can try in a future video. This video was short, sweet, and to the point, but I hope you enjoyed it and maybe you got some ideas out of it. And if not, check the comments. You might find some ideas there. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.